Hi folks, I'm here with Bridget Fitzsimons, who's taking part in the 40 Years of Feminism event tonight in the Ormond Hotel. Bridget, welcome to Kilkenny.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So I just want to ask you first, what can we expect from tonight's event?
I don't know really. It's going to be really exciting because we've got such a different lineup of stuff. I mean, Margaret McCurtain's talking about women's history. Katrina Crowe, the archivist, is talking about history as well. Nell McCafferty, she's she's an absolute legend in the world of Irish feminism. So
Absolutely,
I think it's going to be amazing. And then I'm talking about the future of feminism. I've been involved in feminist activism in UCD for maybe a year or so. So it should be exciting. I think with Nell, I think you have to expect the unexpected anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, which we've seen before in the past.
Yeah.
So, I mean, considering that the event is going to be covering different strands of feminism, especially over particularly the past 40 years, I presume as the youngest participant that you're going to be focusing on more the future as opposed to the past.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think that's one of the most interesting things about feminism. I mean, we're beginning to discover now that feminism, we don't actually call it feminism, it's feminisms, because there's just so many different strands. I mean, what applies to me as feminism may apply to a different woman as something completely different. You can be right-wing, left-wing, you can be pro-life, pro-choice, gay, straight, anything. It's just feminism is just it's so wide and so varied. I think people are really beginning to realise that now, and hopefully tonight we can kind of look at the past as well as trying to construct something to come towards the future. I think now it was so active in the 80s, 70s and 80s. I think now what I'm trying to say is that we need to bring that back, that sense of activism. It's time for women to stand up, to kind of get our rights back. You know, it's kind of faded into the distance a bit. Back then it was more about maybe our sexuality was kind of more guarded, but now it's just we've kind of been confronted with the complete pornification of society. So I'm kind of going to be discussing how, as women, as young women, we can begin to fight against that, how we can encourage younger women to fight against that, and how media and pop culture are kind of, I'm talking a lot of angry talk about Twilight is one of the things.
Oh really? Oh, that's going to be that. Let's just hope there's no Twilight fans there.
Very anti-feminist. So
right, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of those films.
No, me neither.
And because there will be a great focus on the work of the Irish Women's Liberation Movement. What was your first kind of awareness of that work, and how does that tie into what you're going to be presenting?
Well, I mean, I was always quite into feminism. I was reading Simone de Beauvoir when I was in secondary school. So I suppose you hear these names, you know, Nell McCafferty, Margaret McCurtain, like people, and it was more when I got to college. I actually did an amazing course in women's studies in my last semester in UCD, taught by Mary McAuliffe. It was the history of feminism. It was then I really kind of got a grasp of what the Irish women's liberation movement really meant, because I think so many young women of my age just take it for granted, the rights we do have, and it's just look back 20, 30 years and things were just polar opposite. It's just incredible. I think we need to appreciate it more, because like so many young women now are saying, I think feminism is just considered a dirty word, whereas we need to look back, be inspired by their activism and continue it forward, so that the women that come after us, they can look back at us and be like, they gave us so much, the way we can with them. I mean, they're inspiring, absolutely inspiring.
And do you think that it's kind of approaching, I suppose, almost in a way like kind of like a year zero now, when you're saying that the work that they initially kind of forged back in the 1970s, it's it's been kind of relegated a little bit? And do you think
I think it's a continuous process, you know. I mean, obviously we don't have to quit work when we get married anymore, obviously, like that's, but I think working against constant sexism, I'm putting forward in my talk, is the last acceptable form of prejudice in society at the moment. And I think working against factors like that, like what I was saying before, the pornification of society, it's just, we need to stand up and realise that, I mean, Ireland's meant to be a cosmopolitan country in the 21st century, and abortion's still illegal, you know. We're still harking back to that pre-IWLM days. Like we are liberated, of course, but there's still so much more work to do, and I think it's like, I don't think it's a year zero, but I think it's going to be always a continuous process, and we're always going to be working towards, you know, the zenith of true equality, you know. But
and are you hoping as well, but you know, as I was saying, that you're taken from the perspective of being someone who's younger, someone who wouldn't have been, you know, alive when that movement kicked off, and are you hoping that you'll be able to kind of appeal to younger people? I know you mentioned Twilight, but
that's what I'm really hoping. I'm really hoping that by coming and speaking, that younger women can realise that it's not, you can be a feminist and like makeup, you can be a feminist and not be a lesbian, you know. I think people, it's this stereotype that has come, and feminism, it's what it's about is equality. I think a lot of people are surprised when men call themselves feminists, for example. I mean, feminists are not men haters. I just like to point, well, maybe some are, but not all of us are. And it's about equality. It's about making a society that's open to everyone, that we can really begin to just lay down the foundations. Well, they've laid down the foundation, but we can begin to build on that and kind of build towards a true equality. I know it's kind of what we're all aiming towards, but hopefully we can get there in the future.
So we should expect a wide range of topics to be touched on tonight.
Yes, everything from Nuts magazine to Twilight.
Oh, Nuts magazine.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I don't think we're going to have any Nuts readers.
No, let's hope not. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, we have this absolute mainstream pornification. You can get Nuts and Zoo in the supermarket beside teenage girls magazines, and what I'm saying is, by having this figure, this pornified female figures in mainstream society, what are we telling our young girls? We're telling them that a woman's worth is in her sexuality alone, and that's why feminism needs to make a comeback. I mean, look at Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
Again, it's like people like that. The latest rumor is that she wants to have a boob job at the age of 17. So, but the fact that the press are talking about a 17-year-old girl's breasts.
Yeah, and I think that's such a major story.
Yes, it's something we all need to work against. So hopefully, younger women can come on board and realise that feminism it's for everyone.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And obviously the demand for the event has been massive as well, because it's been moved from the Parade Tower to the Ormond. So it's going to be in a much bigger room. But that's great. I mean, that shows the interest that's there.
Well, I think as well, people are so interested in the IWLM. I mean, bringing back to them, they are. I know I keep saying this, but they're so inspiring.
And like she's an iconic figure at this stage.
That's what I'm really looking forward to. Actually,
have you met her?
No, I wrote a paper on her in college, so it'll be really weird to meet her. But I'm really looking forward to it. She's an absolutely iconic figure. I'm really looking forward to it.
Great. So thanks a million for taking the time to talk to us, and hopefully tonight will go great.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, and hopefully you enjoy it. And just for anybody who didn't know, today is Bridget's birthday. So
happy birthday to you.
Thanks, Ken. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, we're getting the whole chorus in. Right. So hopefully tonight's event will mark a fantastic birthday treat.
Yes, hopefully. And thanks to the guys for getting me cake as well.
We bought cake.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.